All right, folks, now Jerry and Damien back for episode 4 of MODOK. This episode is titled If Saturday Be for the Boys. I think this is one of the first episodes. I think I could confidently say this is one of the first episodes that they had a lot going on to really unpack. I think it's probably because of the abundance of references and appearances, and I got my Mr. Sinister pleasure here. I called for him last episode. Here we are. But also, too, we got other appearances from other major villains. Kane the Conqueror, the leader. So, and then some bottom tier people that, I'm not even totally familiar with.
I don't even think those people were real. I thought they were made up just for the show, to be quite honest.
Possibly, but you just never know. There's so many throwaway characters at times. You never know. Whiplash got thrown out the window. But nonetheless, this episode definitely had a lot of references. I mean, even off the break, in the beer commercial, you had the Thing and Wolverine cracking open the beer together and celebrating. And I guess that when it comes down to celebrating with some booze, everybody comes out. So yeah, you got two iconic heroes in the beginning, then you got all the villains, and then you got a lot of other little Easter eggs thrown around. I seen Ant-Man mask. I saw a Nightcrawler stuff animal. It appeared, and a couple other things too. But this episode definitely was a little bit more unique, and I think it's probably because of how last episode we're starting to see that the arc of the season, and so now we're starting to see things come together. And while this episode probably wasn't the most comedic, it was funny. And also, shout out to which I had known had been cast. So it's been waiting to hear her voice finally appear on this series, and Whoopi Goldberg in this one. We're just starting to see things come full circle with where the series is going. Also, like at the very end, we saw that the past MODOK now appearance. Yeah, so interesting enough. But this is the episode where MODOK decides he wants to go to the supervillain hangout, and he wasn't on the list. You ain't on the list, bro. And I like how Kane pulled up VIP. He pulled right up.
Whatever timeline he came from, he just pulled up out of nowhere. I immediately yelled out, "King!" So definitely surprised to see him. We both popped when we saw Mr. Sinister hanging out at the club.
Yeah.
You literally stopped the playback just to say, "What I told you, Mr. Sinister."
That's my guy. Busting balls too.
Then we saw an appearance by the leader, and basically, to your point, just MODOK trying to get in the club because he had no responsibilities, no work, no kids. He ran through the wire apparently in like 5.2 seconds. So what else was he going to do? So he decided to go get drunk. He didn't want to hang out with the super adaptoid, who plays a bit more of a role this episode, as we see at the end as well. So he went to go hang out at the posh villain club, and he is number one. He didn't pay his dues, so he couldn't get in. That's for one. And then he wanted to impress them so much, they gave him a plan to steal Captain America's shield from Avengers Tower. Nigh impossible, but not for MODOK. So what does he do? He goes to the bar with no name, which essentially is where all the lower tier lackey villains hang out. And he kind of was able to put together this Ocean's 11's crew to try to break into Avengers Tower to steal Captain America's shield. And it just hilarity ensues after that.
Yeah. First of all, the idea that they had to go to Avengers Tower, I'm like, oh, so Iron Man won't be the only Avenger that we get to see.
I got hyped.
And I got hyped too, which I knew this was going to be a swerve. I knew there was no way that we're going to actually get there. We did get a look at Avengers Tower, which was still pretty cool. But I knew we weren't going to get the Avengers. Maybe we do get them at some point, because the more characters we get, the more and more I'm going to be happy. Again, as it being a Marvel property, and the fact that, because in the MCU, how different properties are owned by different companies, the fact that we get a show that can integrate all of them, and then on top of that too, like we grew up in the cartoons and the different eras of these cartoons, so that now we're getting something that is refreshing, that calls to us for our generation at an adult tone, and then now we can get the use of all properties. Like, yeah, I want to have these things happen. So like it's the happy medium for us as fans. So like, yeah, we can now get, because we've seen the range of villains we got, which means now I'm just going to predict that hopefully we get Galactus at some point, which means I need absolutely his hilarious, and maybe I need something between him and the Super Adaptoid, but I need Silver Surfer to appear at some point. Then we're going to predict, and then again, there all the villains. I mean, all the superheroes we get. Yeah, let's get Cap in there. Let's get an enraged Hulk. Let's get a Professor Hulk if we can. Like, give us some.
Now we're jumping the broom now, man. we go a little too far.
But like, it just was just like it was a joy to see some of the different people in this as well. But ultimately, with the idea that he put together this D tier list of villains, and like all of them got, man. All of them got, yeah, you're right. All of them got like personal problems, and every single time they had to like try to get past phase 1, there was always something, a distraction, a sob story. I mean, my man Armadillo went back home.
Bruh, try to win back his ex-wife.
Yeah, first of all, they was like, oh my God, that's the villain Mandrill. I was like, wait a minute.
And then we saw why they call him Mandrill.
He said he made that door on purpose.
For those who haven't watched it, basically Mandrill is hung really long, and he walks around in a kimono with Armadillo's ex-wife as his current wife to rub it in his face.
Oh man, that's funny. I even like the whole ordeal at the Night Loaf Cafe.
Dude, the Night Loaf. Didn't think it was real. And then all of a sudden at the end of the episode, it turns out it's real. And the waiter is a medieval knight. So that's kind of cool, I guess. And it stayed open late because they had said, oh, it's an hour before it closes. And he goes, wait a minute. M.O.D.O.K goes, wait a minute. If it's an all-night meatloaf shop, why does it close in an hour?
You know what though? I thought they were going to try something else funny. I thought that night was actually going to be King Arthur, who is canon in the MCU, and I thought they were going to try to pull that. But yeah, nonetheless, I love the puns with meatloaf and how they had to keep like presenting it, and like how they like all changed like their style of talking. Like I was laughing, like little tidbits like that just makes me laugh a lot. But in regards to this episode too, I think this was just a lot of just fan service for it. Not that it was needed, but like we are here, and I think that this one was one of those episodes where you kept your eyes glued and peeled because there were so many different references all over with Marvel properties. And then ultimately now, like I said, we're stepping forward with the arc, and now we got this past M.O.D.O.K, who is clearly the more sadistic version of M.O.D.O.K, who clearly has a vendetta with the current M.O.D.O.K, because if I remember correctly, he's mad at the current M.O.D.O.K because he never fulfilled their
accomplished
destiny.
his prophecies.
Yes. Right. So it's like he's caught up to him, and he's gonna make him pay dues. And the Super Adaptoid looks to be the first casualty thus far, after he's been joyrided all day by some teenagers, which is probably never fun. So, but I'm trying to think what else happened in this episode. I feel like there's something else happened. Like I just enjoyed
we got a bonding moment between Monica and his wife, and
that's right. AIM. That's right. Yeah, a little bit of drink got them, like she said, she was kind of busting on M.O.D.O.K a little bit, but at the same time, it's just girl talk. Nothing too serious besides the idea that I don't know, man. She had despite the divorce or whatever you want to call it, the separation, she still needs M.O.D.O.K, and she needs M.O.D.O.K to wipe the net of some things that she's done, but like there's still that desire for him. And
I thought that was a little kind of telling, because remember how Armadillo tried to get back his ex-wife and M.O.D.O.K tried to help him out with that. So when we watch M.O.D.O.K, because remember, if you go back to the first episode, no one knows really that M.O.D.O.K has a family. You know, it's not really talked about, because remember within the first 3 minutes, they go, where does he go at night?
Yeah.
He goes home to his family. So what winds up happening is that his wife goes to AIM to kind of get him to, because their son winds up eating like 10 paydays because he saw it on probably a TikTok challenge. And she's been going around telling people that her son has a peanut allergy because she's this famous blogger and author. So she meets up with Monica Rappaccini, and basically they have girl talk while, you know, his son is chilling with Monica's daughter in the teen lounge of AIM. Because remember, now that Grumble has purchased AIM, they have a daycare, a teen lounge, and treating it basically like it's one big happy family on a Friday night. So they drink, they talk, they laugh. Seems that Lou was trying to hit on Monica's daughter for a little bit. That's kind of what I got out of it. And then they wind up concocting an actual allergen to inject into Lou so that the story of him having a peanut allergy does indeed check out.
Yeah.
Because no one understood that M.O.D.O.K had a family. Monica, not her daughter. And they had the same exact line of, I have so many questions. Because
yeah, they never showed on the craziness, but like I guess for me, I enjoyed there's so many just laughable moments this episode that like there wasn't so much to like really recap on for me, besides just really good dialogue and good moments. And again, like I said, Whoopi, who voiced what's the name of that
Pound
character?
Cakes.
Pound Cakes, there we go, who is the mutant athlete,
the muscle of the group. Yep.
Yeah, basically, yep. Who they went back to her high school where she had won so many trophies and whatnot. Oh, by the way, all of them are illiterate. None of them can read, which is just
that was funny. That they were an entire crew of supervillains or low level villains, and none of them can read.
Yeah.
But Tenpin did donate all his money to PBS, which was ironically funny because M.O.D.O.K goes, "Wait, you're illiterate, but you love PBS? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
We'll go with it." Yeah, well, I think that'll do it for episode 4. Anything else you want to add really quick before we jump out of here?
There was a line that Pound Cake said that caught me off guard. It was like, "Oh, you throw like a girl who hasn't realized her full potential yet." And I thought that was a very 2020, 2021 thing to say. And even I kind of thought that was a cool line to throw in there, you know, because remember when we were kids, when they told boys that they threw like a girl, that was meant to be an insult.
Sure.
But we all know that don't mean anything to us anymore because shoot, I'll take that compliment. It's all good to me.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good line, and having Whoopi Goldberg kind of say that made the line that much better. But also, it was almost like a coming of age because remember, all of these low level villains, you know, had never done anything right. They failed in their past, and M.O.D.O.K helped them through that. And you know, me being a counselor, you know, in my day job and whatnot, that made me feel happy to see the fact that M.O.D.O.K was kind of helping these people, even though he was prepared to sacrifice 2 of them for the plan to capture Captain America's shield. So they don't get the shield. They don't make it to Avengers Tower. They make it to Coney Island because they fell asleep on the train. And that has happened to one too many New Yorkers in their time, where they've fallen asleep on the F or the D line. And then they get down to Coney Island and they said, screw it. We're going to go to the beach. And that's exactly what they did. They watched the sunrise on the beach in Coney Island, and one of their members passes away. Before that, he whispers, he whispers the name of his high cholesterol grilled cheese truck idea that no one knew. But in his final moments, which I knew it because they show him spitting up blood the entire episode, that he was going to die before it was over. And right before he kicks the bucket, he whispers to M.O.D.O.K what the name of the restaurant is, and M.O.D.O.K just goes, perfect. So maybe that continues on. Maybe that's something he might carry on. Maybe he makes the food truck later this season. But then the episode ends with the human adaptoid, the super adaptoid, being kidnapped and then basically abducted, to your point, by M.O.D.O.K from the past. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go because now we have multiple villains. We have the board and now we have past M.O.D.O.K. All while I still think M.O.D.O.K's going to try to reconcile with his wife. So there's going to be a lot of twists and turns here in the rest of the episodes. And I think I don't know what, I'm not going to make any prognostications, but it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, yeah, like I said, I'll do it for episode 4. So step over to episode 5 as we continue to hash through all these episodes this season. So thank you so much for watching. Drop in the comments. Let us know what you thought about this episode. What were some of your funniest moments of this episode? What other cameos did you see or Easter eggs did you see that we may have missed? Let us know in the comments below. But yeah, step over to episode 5 for that next review, and we'll see you over there. Thank you for watching, folks.
Patton.